Today's video is sponsored by Bridge24. Are you frustrated by the lack of reporting in tools such as Asana, Trello, and Basecamp? Well, with Bridge24, you can manipulate and view your data any way that you like. Want an interactive chart of all of your cards and lists? How about having something that is print ready so you can share with others? Or perhaps you'd like to deal with your data in an Excel spreadsheet. Well, you can do it all with Bridge24. Be sure to check out the link in the description below for more details. You already know that Trello is an excellent tool to manage your projects and all of your tasks. And there are many new features that you may not be aware of. So in today's video, I want to share with you 3 new features. These are things that have just been released within the past 6 months, things that you probably are not even aware of. Hello everyone, Scott Friesen here at Simpletivity, helping you to get more done and enjoy less stress. And let's get things kicked off with a brand new power-up called the Map Power-Up. Now, in order to enable the Map Power-Up, you need to go up to your menu here and select Power-Ups, and probably the easiest way is to just simply search for maps. I've already got it enabled here. Here is the new Map Power-Up. And once you've enabled it, there's really nothing else you need to do. If I hit the gear icon here, my only other choice is to disable it. So let's go back to my Trello board and see how the Map Power-Up works. So think about how often you need to be traveling somewhere, or maybe you just want to reference the different places that are associated to a particular card. If you can see here in my to-do list, I've got a few cards here. Visit a new client to discuss training options, look at office space near Central Park, and I want to check into my hotel. Perhaps I'm traveling on business, and so I would like not only just specific addresses, but I'd like a map so I can reference these places. Now, I've actually already added the map to these second and third cards. You can see that there's this little location icon listed here. But let's go up to the first card here and add one here. So I need to visit a new client to discuss new training options. I don't have an address. I'd rather be able to just click on a map instead. So on the right-hand side, under Power-Ups, we have this button called Location. And if I select it, it's just going to bring up this search field, which is actually just searching Google Maps. Now, you can either type in the address directly, or if it's the name of a building or an organization, I'm just going to type in Hulu for this example. So I'm going to, you can see it's bringing up those results already, Hulu on 5th Avenue. I'm going to select it, and boom. I've got a map right here within my card, so I can reference it here directly. Now, there's a few things you can do here. If I click on the map itself, it's going to expand. So now I've got a closer view of this map, right? I can dive in deeper into this map here. That's great. Now, if I click on this link here, this little upward arrow, what it's going to do is it's actually going to open up this map in Google Maps in a separate tab. And that can be helpful if I want directions. This is especially useful when you're going to be using this feature on your Android or iOS device. If you're using an Apple device or an Android device, this is going to open up Google Maps, and you can have directions immediately to get to that location. And if I choose to change the location, I can choose this last option to do so, or just remove it here as well. But in this example, I want to leave it. This is exactly the new client I want to go meet with, so I'm going to leave it here within this card. But it gets better. Now that I've got a couple of different locations here, you'll notice that there's this little map link in the top right-hand corner. If I select it, now I've got all 3 of those locations here within the map, each of these little pins signifying those separate cards. But if I click on them, I even get the cards themselves. So now I can see exactly, oh, that's right, that's the office space there. And then I'm going to come down here and I'm going to visit this new client at this location. I even get things like the due date. I can get the label. I can even expand that label here, right, if I want to see what the label is. And then last but not least, I'm going to check into my hotel at this location. Now, if I click on any of these, I can actually click on this little bubble. It's going to open up the card card, I can add a description, I can check it off, I can do whatever I want with a regular card, and when I close it, it brings me right back to this map view. I think this is really, really helpful, especially for those of you who may be making client visits or sales visits. Even if you're using Trello for personal use and maybe you're just doing some sightseeing, right? You're just touring around the city. You can have your different locations here right on the Trello interface. And of course, this is best used on your mobile devices as well. So as long as you have the map power-up enabled for that particular board, you'll be able to take advantage of this on your mobile device. Well, let's get to tip number 2, or should I say new feature number 2, and this one has to do with due dates. Now, due dates are not new, right? Due dates are a standard feature here within Trello, but it's what we can do with the due dates, especially when it comes to reminders. So if I select the due date here, let's say for this particular task, I want to do it before the weekend, I'm going to select the 12th, but you'll notice something new down below, that there is a set reminder drop-down window. In the past, the default reminder time would always be 24 hours in advance. And in some cases, this was a bit of a nuisance because maybe you didn't want a reminder for everything that had a due date, and maybe you wanted a different reminder in terms of a different time period. You wanted a little closer to this due date, or maybe you wanted a little further out. Well, Trello now gives us that option. If I select this drop-down menu, the very first choice here is none, so I can choose to say I just don't want a reminder. I'd like the due date, but I don't want the reminder. But all of the other options are within about a 48-hour period. You can either set a due date for as early, or I should say as late as the exact time of the due date. So in this case, it's going to alert me exactly at 12 noon on Friday the 12th, or I can stretch it out to a few minutes, a few hours, or even 2 days before. That's longer than the previous default. So a lot more flexibility. And one of the nice things about this feature, of course, is that this does not roll over to every single card within your board. Maybe I want to be notified 2 days before for this particular card, but on a different card, I'd like to be notified 15 minutes in advance, right? Your cards represent different things, so now you have the flexibility of choosing a different reminder time. One other thing I want to point out here when we're talking about due dates is that now, in this case, in order for me to receive that reminder, we've got the due date there, I'm going to need to add myself to this card, right? I need to assign myself as a member. Otherwise, no one's going to be getting this reminder. However, there's another way that you can be notified of a card even if you are not being assigned to that particular card. Let me remove myself here for a second. If we go down near the bottom of the card, you'll see that there is a watch button. And this is one of those features that I think goes almost unnoticed amongst many Trello users. If I select watch, you'll notice that I get this little green check mark beside it. I have not been assigned to it, but if I close the card, there's this little eyeball icon. It means that I'm watching this card and I will get those reminders. Whatever that reminder duration is set, whether it's the time of or 2 days out or 15 minutes, I will receive that reminder as well. That reminder is going to be applicable to anyone who is assigned or watching this card. Another way to take advantage of the watch feature is that you can watch an entire list. So you can click up here on a particular list and you can select watch. And what that means, there you can see that icon again, this time in the list, is that whatever happens in this list, as things move in, as they move out, as things are updated, I'm going to be notified, and I'm going to be kept in the loop of what's going on here. That can be really, really helpful if you're working on a board with a number of team members, but you're really only responsible, or you just want to keep a much closer eye on a particular step in your process or a particular phase in your funnel. So this isn't something new. The watch feature has been around for a while, but since we were talking about due dates, I thought I would mention it here. Now, the third new feature, and this is brand new, that I want to share with you today has to do with giving your users and giving people who interact with your board a little more detail about what's going on, and that's the About This Board section. If we go back to the Show menu here, you'll notice that there's something brand new as our first option, and that's the About This Board. Now, it's front and center for a reason, because this is a place where you're probably going to want new people to be clicking on on, or at least they can go and reference this when they need a little extra help or maybe just a little bit of background information. So if I select About This Board, there are three main sections to this area. Number one is the Made By. Who created this board? Who is the administrator? Who do I go to talk to if I need some help or need some direction on this board? That wasn't always obvious prior to adding this feature. Now it's very, very clear. The second section is the description area, and this is, I think, really, really helpful. I've added a brief description here. If I select the Edit button, I can add a lot more detail here if I want, giving other people an overview of, hey, this is what this board is about, this is how we're using this is why we're using it this way, that type of thing. You can add it here in the description. And then last but not least, we have a section here which is sort of referred to as an actions section. So it's telling people that members can comment on cards, and if you are the administrator, you can change some of those permissions, including changing the team, the default cover image, if it's enabled or not, commenting, and add remove permissions. They're going to be found here as well. So I'd love to hear from you next. Which features in Trello do not yet exist but are on your wish list? What do you wish Trello would introduce in the coming year? Make sure to let me know in the comments down below. Remember, being productive does not need to be difficult. In fact, it's very simple.